best payoff for a single event. If you don't want to give the number, that's fine. But the best payoff and what the event was.
Um, when you say payoff, you mean monetarily?
Monetarily for one single event.
I see. I was on a guaranteed contract. Remember, I was the first one to get a guaranteed
Ah, yeah.
contract at WWE. So I got paid the same no matter what. And unfortunately, like what really hurt me was when, I'm off for 8 months with my ACL and I'm getting paid this big money every week. And I got a huge signing bonus. And it just ruffled a lot of feathers when I came to WWF because of the signing bonus, the guaranteed contract, and of course bringing my wife in too was raised a lot of eyebrows. Just was pissed off a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um,
You've
it was tough time.
I was going to say you've been very pressing because that's one of the future questions I was going to ask then. But I know you skipped. You left WCW and then got to WWF very very quickly.
Yeah.
Who approached who as far as
Well,
an overture?
3 years before this, Vince McMahon, when my contract was up with WCW, he flew me to his home in Stamford, and
So
we
he
had
was
dinner
he was
together.
serious
Oh,
then. He was dead serious because if he
very
invites you
serious,
to
yeah.
your home, then you are serious. Then he's serious.
Yes. And so we had dinner together, and he said to me, "What's it going to take to bring you to WWF?" And I said, "Well, I got to have a guaranteed contract." He goes, "We don't guarantee contracts. We offer opportunities." I go, "Well, I got a guaranteed contract at WCW." And we had a great dinner, and we shook hands. And he said to me, he goes, "We're going to do business one day." Now, fast forward 3 years later, my contract is up again at WCW, and I get contacted from them, and I can't remember. It was through a mutual friend, and next thing you know, I'm speaking to Vince, and what's going to take? And I said, "Well, I want a guaranteed contract. I want a signing bonus, and I want to bring my wife on the road with me." He goes, "I can give you the guaranteed contract and the signing bonus, but why would you want to bring your wife on the road?" And I said, "Well, I've already been through divorce before, and I see so many of the guys get divorced. And I go, if I figure if she's with me, we can make it work. And, since you're going to fly her everywhere I go, why don't you have her as like my valet?" He goes, "No, no, let's just worry about you." So then they send me a ticket to come to New York to sign my contract at the WWE headquarters in Stamford. And so I fly, I get the ticket, they send it to me. And I called Vince. I go, "Hey, Vince, there's only one ticket here." And he goes, "Well, aren't you coming to sign the contract?" I go, "I told you my wife has to fly everywhere I fly." And he goes, "Whew, okay." So he flies my wife in. Now, remember, I already asked him if she could be the valet. And when we walked into his office, he said, looked at her and he goes, "I got to put her on TV." And that's how, and then her and I came up with the name Sable. And the rest is history.
So there was you first who got a guaranteed contract. I think it was around 300, 350 with bonuses.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Mhm.
I did my research at the time for the Owen Hart book, I think. And
Yeah,
then
it was 350. And of course, I got a signing bonus. And every year it went up 50 grand. And um, yeah, it was incredible. I mean, it broke the glass ceiling, so to speak.
because I was trying to think who was after you, and I think it may have been Brian Pillman who got a guaranteed
Brian
contract.
was, yeah, Brian was the next one, and then everybody, obviously, because we got it, everyone else started getting them.
I imagine it was a problem for certain people who were already in the top of the card, but were under the old system in that sense. But it would just take. Is it just one of those things where it would just take time for the contract situation to work itself out and then catch up with everybody?
Well, it more or less happened after I was already gone, where everybody gets guaranteed contracts now. But at the time, it was so hard to work with people. We weren't very well liked because here I am. Remember when I was with WCW, I was the camaraderie of the boys. You're on the
Yeah.
road with them, you're going out with them, you're doing stuff with them, you're eating with them. And now I'm with my wife all the time, so I never built those lasting friendships at WWE or WWF. And I look back and it was I can understand why people would maybe think we were aloof but you're with your wife, you really can't go out to the bars with the guys or you know what I mean? So it was a little different back then. And but I look back and I could see why people could be upset with me or dislike me, but I could see how it translated into the ring too, where guys didn't want to do a lot of stuff I wanted to do. Um, didn't perform. There were some people that even made a mockery of working with me, that would do things that were really hurtful in the ring that made me look really bad. Um, but you know what? You look back and you just roll with it, man.
What were the main differences between WWF and WCW as far as just putting together matches? Because in my mind, when I see WCW, it was just do whatever gets over. Whereas WWF is far more regimented and they've got their own certain set style.
Well, you were giving what the finish would be and what they would like to see during the match and how much time you have, all the normal things you would have at WCW. But you'd get maybe a little more input from the agents and people that wanted to see certain things in the match. And Vince, especially since Vince brought me in, Vince had a lot of input into my matches on certain things he wanted to see me do more of to help me become a better performer.
Were you one of Vince's favourites at the time?
Um, I, I don't think I was one of his favorites. I think Vince took a lot of um, criticism for bringing me in with a guaranteed contract, where a lot of people didn't feel like I was at the work level that some of them were at. Remember Mick Foley and Steve Austin came in right before me, and they just got opportunities.
Hmm.
So you have these two, people that can really entertain that were paid so much far less than I was being paid. So there was I think Vince got a lot of criticism for him, and then whenever I did not perform to my ability, people would go, "See, I told you,"
Yeah.
So they took the IC strap off me very quickly, and it was a tough time. So then, of course, blowing out my knee would take me home for 8 months, and my ex was on the road, doing her thing and becoming more and more popular and doing well.